Okay, here comes a good one. Something unexpected in the shadows. I like to put unexpected things everywhere. I don't know, you ever remember being a kid and playing with the shadows on the wall and doing little birds? And welcome to Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom. Well, I got a call from a viewer last year who had just turned 80, and he said his name is Jim Calici, and he says he's been watching the show, and he decided at 80 that he was going to start painting after watching, which is just awesome. Well, that was last year, and today I got a call from him again, and he said, Shannon, I'm turning 81. Would you paint an abstract again? I really want to paint along. So today we're going to do an abstract with a twist. We're going to start out with that and then put something a little decorative on top of it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And the other thing, if you watch the last few shows, I haven't used very much red. So this one's going to be very top heavy with red. It's just at the time I was going through withdrawal. So we're going to get started on that. The cool thing about abstracts is that you can just paint from the inside out. So whatever you feel, you put on the canvas, and then that evolves into something else, and that morphs into something else. So it's really going to be fun. So get out your paints and let's give your own wall some soul. So why do I have this black canvas? Well, there's two versions. Do I tell you guys the truth about what actually happened, or do I tell you that I just toned the canvas to make it black to start with? Well, nah, not in this case. In this case, I actually took a painting that I had been working on, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't working for me, and it just wasn't fun. So I thought I wasn't, you know, if it's coming out bad and I can't make something of it, then I'll throw it away. But I just didn't have any bad energy. I just was done with it. So I let it dry. And I painted it black, and I thought, you know what, this would be a great one to do a faux finish on or an abstract or something like that. So I just saved it. And then when I got the call from Jim, it was just perfect. Now, there are other times when I actually will base coat a canvas black and use that as a start. But I have to tell you the truth. This one, I screwed up, and I saved it. That's what we're going to do today. So I'm going straight for the red. I'm going to grab my palette knife. And I love painting. It's a nice change to paint on something that's already toned. The colors are way different. So I'm gonna put some quinacridone violet, and you know what? I'm gonna start with some cad red too, and just put that down. Move some of this over. And you can tell that my palette's entirely different than normal. I've got quinacridones, a whole series of red, and then I've added all these metallic colors up here, and they're going to be fun. I'm going to punch those up at the end, and then just for balance, I have a little bit of green and a little bit of carbazole violet. So this is going to be way fun. Whoops! I just threw my knife out. That was an accident. Okay. So I'm putting my brush in the liquid. I'm going to grab a little bit of that. I'm going straight for the bright red just because it feels good. Oh, yeah, that's happy. See, you just put some paint down and it already makes something happen. Now, I love adding bits of color like this. Things just start emerging. And I really think that painting, I just took up golf a few months ago. And painting really is a lot like golf for me. You know, you start out, you never know what kind of day you're going to have. You go out thinking you're feeling good, think you're going to play a decent game, and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. And in my case, since I'm just starting out, most times I don't, but I do have some fun. When I'm painting, you know, I have something in mind that I want to accomplish, but again, I never know where it's going to end up. And with an abstract, it's great because you can just let the paint take over. Now, isn't this cool? I'm using lots of liquid, and so we've already got a really good base going down here. That's just nice. Let's see, what else do we want? We'll add a little more bright red over here. And a little more of this. Just put a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Now, for people who've been thinking about painting, they've been afraid to try. Give it a shot, see what happens. There's no pressure. It doesn't have to look like anything. It just has to feel good. And I'm going to add a little more red here. I'm using a smaller brush than I might on this size canvas, just because I want the extra strokes, a little extra texture. And I didn't do a great, on purpose, job of covering this canvas. I left it kind of uneven. There's even some of the green showing through from the previous work. I did make sure all the texture was gone, or most of it anyway. Oh, that's nice. I'm doing a painting right now that's just all clouds, and so it's kind of strokes like this, and this is kind of reminding me of. It's great to turn on different types of music and paint an abstract. You'll see the difference in your painting when you put the 3 tenors in as compared to Sammy Hagar or AC/DC. Can have some really explosive work come out. It's just great. Now we're going to need a little variation here, but I'm just going to cover the canvas first, and then we'll play with it some more. And I'm starting from the middle and just kind of exploding out. And there wasn't a conscious methodology to that. That just felt good. Today we're just doing whatever we're going to do here. Get the painting done. Now I've made some really interesting leather type textures by using this black base coat and throwing the color on top. And I can't tell you how many emails and calls I get from people who see all kinds of real trippy things when I start doing abstracts in the work. And they think I painted them on purpose, but they just kind of come out. We'll see what starts emerging here. I like square formats too. They're fun. They really help me push the composition. And you know, like golf, when you're first starting out, everybody's trying to tell you how to play, right? So I'm sure that happens when you first start painting. People say, "Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that," and I decided I'm just going to go out to the course and play by myself for a while and just work on the lessons that I've been learning. You get too many people trying to tell you what to do, it just messes you up. So the trick is to just go out there and paint. You'll know, paint, take some lessons, and then take a break and paint. And just like, one gal was telling me, you need to keep your head down, you need to do all these things, and pretty soon I'm going to be throwing paint across the studio. And, we have this saying in art that, you know what, some of the things take care of themselves if you have enough time under the brush. And I feel like it's the same thing with golf. You get out there and you work and you practice, and some of the things start to take care of themselves. So, so the only way it's going to get better is keep working at it. That's what I'm doing with golf, and that's what I continue to do with painting. Wow, there's all kinds of trippy things in here. Don't worry, I'll be adding some other color later, but right now, I don't feel like it. I really did go through red withdrawal on the last couple shows. A little more cool stuff. I think I'm going to have this explode from the outside. That's just happy. And you covering this loosely, doesn't matter that I'm using a lot of medium. It doesn't matter that the black is showing through. That adds depth to it. A lot of times I'll do this and let it dry and do this over and over so you really get layers and layers of this stuff. It's wonderful. If any of you guys have ever seen my calla lilies, that's how I do the backgrounds for the calla lilies. I'll bet you're starting to see some weird figures, all kinds of stuff start popping up here. It also, you know, if you do this and let it dry, it takes a lot less time to cover the canvas. You've really done a lot of the hard work already. Dripping red all over the place. And this is one of those where it is fun to turn the canvas because I tend to go in the same direction, so that helps me break it up a little bit. So I'm actually going to pick it up and lift it and just turn it a quarter. I'm not, I don't care what orientation it is. I see this straight line here. I don't want that. I am going to break that up. And I think what it is there's still some texture from the previous painting. Oh, I'm liking that. Okay, so one of the things with the quinacridones is they're already transparent. You can see through these. So really, it helps this whole effect. Now the CADs, they're very opaque. I'm swirling and scribbling. Come on, I know you guys can do this, so give it a shot. And if you can't get past the fact that it doesn't look like anything, know that some of the backgrounds, there are some areas of the painting that aren't representational. So this is a good tool no matter what you're going to do. Sometimes I do this and we'll have the students focus on a particular feeling when they're doing the work and see what comes out. I'm doing this, I just want to be surprised. I was in a good mood on the way over here. I'm usually in a good mood on the way over here. So this is going to be happy. Hopefully a little bit wild. So I'm so close to this that I can't see what's going on. And that's a good thing. Right now I don't want to analyze it. I just want paint. This also helps you get used to just applying the paint if you've not done a lot of this. Soon we will be adding some other color. But I'm taking my time, playing with the red. It's definitely a red day. All right, we got some dark stuff coming out here. Gonna add a little more CAD red light. Swirling that. I can still see some of the outline ghosts of the other painting because I didn't sand it down. But I don't think it'll be an issue. I think it'll be fine. We'll just make heavy texture on here because later we're getting out the knife. Nah, I'm not going to throw it away. There are times when I take them off the stretcher bars and if there are too many, well, let's say I don't like it and I'm going to get rid of it. Wow, that looks like it. Oh, wow. See, I can see this in the monitor. And I can see that now it's like some science fiction cloud, gaseous. Wow, man. That's cool. Okay, so we're going with that kind of thing. So I'm letting the painting tell me what it is. I didn't decide what it was going to be when I started. Which is a good thing, because I would have had to have changed my mind. That's just happy. See, there was just, you know what? It's like not having chocolate for a long time. If I don't have red, not a good thing. So I'm using just one brush, lots of medium, and I'm scribbling. You too can do this. I was at a charity function and a guy came up to me. He said, "Yeah, I watched you on TV and I saw what you're doing and I could do that." And that's the point. That's why we're here. I would love to see you guys go for it. You could. Now, Mr. Calici, he loves doing abstracts. I think he wants to focus on that totally, but he's also done some other work. And whatever turns you on, just paint, just go for it. And that was the problem with what was underneath here. It just didn't float my boat anymore, so it had to go. Wow. Pretty wild. I'm going to flip this over again. Otherwise, I try to make things too even and tidy, so I don't want that to happen. Heaven forbid it should be too tidy. So I'm going to move the canvas over again. Let's see, which way do I want? I'll flip it again. Another quarter turn. I'll bet it's a whole new painting now. Yeah, I like this black underneath. And if you notice it really adds that whole depth that you wouldn't get if it was white. Or you would get it, just takes a lot longer. So this really helps with my little instant gratification thing. Definitely feeling the love with the red. That's a good, happy thing. So I'm going to I do like having some of this dark merging into from the edges, pushing stuff inside. And I've been painting these clouds and I'm doing all these same kinds of strokes. It's just wonderful. We'll have to try some clouds here. Okay, so I want people to write in, email me, call, what kind of things are you seeing in my painting, because it's really great to get that kind of feedback. People see all kinds of interesting things in my abstracts that I didn't notice till they point them out. Of course, it also depends on how late this show airs and where you're watching it, how much stuff people see. Oh, that's good. Gonna flip it again pretty quick. I painted three sides black, and I'll eventually paint all of the sides black, but I had to one side to grab that wasn't wet. Normally when I paint the sides, I use acrylic paint because it dries fast, and you can just take a blow dryer, blow dry the edges, and that way you can handle it. But I had the oil paint out, and I was just on a mission. So, so when you do that, you can only do about 3 at a time. Now it's nice because I'm seeing some texture. The texture underneath and the strokes underneath are adding to the depth. This is really cool. Wow. All right, so I'll flip this over again. I'm going to lift it and turn it one more time. That's cool. And I'm getting back from it. I'm going to get back and get out of my way and look and see what's happening. It really does look like, God, aliens ought to be coming any time now. Wow. Cool. My web designer said recently, boy, I'd like to just be in your head for a couple minutes and see what's going on there. And I said, nah, it'd probably scare you. You probably don't want to go there. But it is fun. You know what? That's what painting's all about, having some fun, expressing yourself, letting it out. I'm applying in some places less pressure so that there's more black underneath showing. We're going to get out some violet soon, but not yet. Not ready. This is definitely one of those where, you know, at home I paint looking, I'm here, and then I have a mirror behind me, probably about, oh gosh, maybe 15 feet. So I don't have to step back from the canvas. All I have to do is go like this and look back again, and I can see what's happening with my painting. And luckily, I have the same situation here with the monitor, so I can step back and say, you know, is this working? When you're at home, if you don't have a mirror, you've got to step back because you can't tell what's going on. When I'm right on top of this, all I can see are some little strokes here, and especially now, if I don't have my reading glasses, I have no clue. It's got to be way far away. So, so now I can see that it's starting to evolve, and wow, there's just now I could paint little Martians or something funny in here, but I really didn't want to go there. I wanted to just keep it loose. So we're going to go just with some design and feel. That's the other thing. I did a landscape as a study in one of the classes I was teaching. And here I'd been doing all these still lifes, all these representational things. And I started this landscape, and it, by the nature of the subject matter, it had no boundaries. And it was, all the shapes were organic. And so I didn't have to stay in any lines. It was very liberating, very freeing. So right now, I don't feel like painting anything that's structured. Okay. All right, so we have the canvas covered. So what do I do in the studio at home when, I'm going to have to start getting music on this show because that's half of what happens when I'm painting. So I just tell you that if I was at home and I had the music on, I'd be dancing and painting. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, singing, dancing, having a good time. And so it really helps the process. It really, really adds to the energy. I always stand up when I paint because I have too much energy to be bottled up to be sitting. And also when you're working on something this big, it'd be a little too hard. Now, if you're a detail person, then sitting would probably be a good way to go because you're going to be focused on things and not move in big spaces. But Well, you know, I talk with my hands, so can you imagine if I was stuck and confined somewhere? It just wouldn't work. All right, so we've got a nice base going here. But, you know, needs to be contrast. Like in any good piece of music, any good painting, there needs to be some contrast. So I'm going to get out some quinacridone violet and add some darks. And just see what starts to emerge. Gonna get a new brush. I could use the old one. Yeah, maybe I'll use the old one and keep the brush dirty and see what happens. I'm not, you know, I'm tempted to look at the canvas and say, what would be good compositional shapes to put in here? I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to start putting purple down and seeing what happens. I'll analyze it a little later in the show. Right now we're just putting some stuff down. All right, so straight carbazole violet. And I have put some white out on there, but I don't think I'll use it. Very different palette. All right, and if you notice this, I don't know if you can see, this is a scruffy brush, and it's been through a lot of stuff, some really textured canvases, but it's perfect for this application. I mean, it's splayed, it's just all over the place, but I'm not going to throw it out. It's kind of like a favorite sweater or something. Okay, I'm just going to put some of this in here. And it's like, what, you know, you could have left it black and still had some of this dark. I could have, but I like the coolness of the violet. And I want to add another layer. And also the black was dry, so this is a very brush mixed application. Softer. Soft edges. Let's see, do we want something around on the outskirts here? On the edge of town, on the edge of the universe? Oh, wow. Okay, we went to, speaking of that, there's a guy in town who's an astronomer. We went over to his house Friday night, and he has telescopes, he has a little observatory, and so it was phenomenal. We got to, maybe that's why this red Mars thing's coming out. It was great. He gave us all a lecture on the stars, and he had this laser pointer, so he could actually point out all the constellations and what was going on. And it was fascinating. It was really an incredible evening. It's like, now I know where this is coming from. So thank you, David, for inspiring this painting. Okay, this is where it would be good to be inside my head. I'm going to get myself in trouble again. I was thinking about, I have to give him a bad time, and I might as well do it on TV and just say nothing about the, you know, here I'm painting this gaseous mass here. No relation to you, Dave. Okay, I'm behaving for a little while. He lives out where there aren't a lot of lights, and God, you could see all kinds of stuff. My friends are just amazed that I could stay up that late because, you know, everybody knows I get up around 4 and start painting, 3 or 4. Okay, what do we have? I don't want to do too much purple. I'm going to step back and look at it. Wow, I see some angel things, and wow. All right, so now we need a little more contrast. We've got some darks, and we have some mediums. I have black, some black still showing through. It would be nice to have a little more light in here too, but it depends also on what I'm going to throw over the top. And you know I got to do something over the top. I got to do something over the top by the time this is done. All right, so let's see. I think I will get a different brush, but one that's equally scruffy. Yeah, this little Mars array definitely has to be scruffy. A friend of mine down in LA is a painter, and she does a lot of really cool abstracts, and she actually, some of her paintings are backdrops for shows on the Sci-Fi Channel. That's a cool gig. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of Cad Yellow Deep. Just start throwing in some light here and there. How do I know where to put it? Well, part of it's just, okay, so there's the there's the logical aspect of where to put it. I'm putting it over the top of some Cad red light because I know that it's going to be less of a transition, and so it's not going to be a shock or offensive. And so there's the logical side, and then there's the other part that goes, oh, this is cool, let's just put it here. So there's both. I'm swirling again. I'm using even less pressure as I'm putting stuff over the top because I don't want to hamper the things that were there before. So you can barely see, in some cases, you can barely see this. Wow. Okay, so let's see what it's starting to mirror. So I'm going to get back from the canvas, see what else is starting to happen. There still needs to be a little more contrast. So I've added the violet. So I'm going to add the complement, which is I'm going to use this really cool green. And I think that'll push some things forward and some backwards, and we'll see what happens there. I'm going to get another scruffy brush, some of these old faithful brushes that I've had forever. I'm going to take this bright green, and you would think that this bright green straight out of the tube would be much, but on a toned canvas, and by toned I mean it's got some color on it other than its original white, it's not going to be too much. In fact, it's just going to be pretty and sing next to that red. So I'm not using any medium, but I am coating my brush pretty well. And where am I going to apply this? Well, I want to add some depth. And I'm going to treat this kind of like I would cloud. So I'm going to find some of the darker areas. So this is actually a little bit left-brained here. I'm going to find some of the darker areas and accentuate that. Some of the edges. And I'm fading it out so that it's a sharp edge here and a soft edge as it fades out. So what that's doing is pushing some of those areas a little bit deeper. When you're far away from it, it just looks dark. When you're close, you're going, oh, how cool, how pretty that green is. Well, at least I am. All right, we'll accentuate this. Again, where it's right up against the shape, I'm leaving a harder edge and fading it out toward the bottom. And where else do I want to? I want to kind of connect some of these so that it's not just, I don't want islands of dark. We want this mass to connect. God, we saw lots of shooting stars. That was really cool. Of course, there was a meteor shower this weekend, too. Do I remember any of the technical stuff he said? No. I don't remember how far away everything was. It was just way far away. But it was fascinating and a lot of fun. I'm adding some dark hair. This is one of those deals where I definitely have to get, ooh, this is when cool things start happening that I had no idea I was creating. So now we've got little things starting to come together, And I'll just throw in a little here. And this is one of those where I could almost paint looking in the monitor to see where I'm going rather than the canvas. And there are times at home where I paint looking into the mirror. And if you're old enough, you can remember those, God, they had weather girls back then that used to paint backwards, or what did they do? They used to draw backwards and with grease pencil, write the temperature on. Okay, I'm dating myself here. Never mind. Kind of like the comments I got from the last show about Super Chicken. I know, there's some of you guys out there that know the words. All right, we need some more green over on this side. That's just, and why is green so happy with the red? Well, they're opposite on the color wheel, so they're complementary here. They're good neighbors. Okay, so I'm standing back to see what else is emerging. We've got some places that are just a little too abrupt, so I'm going to soften those out. And also, I don't want islands. I want things to sort of kind of connect here. So there's this combination between being totally right-brained and just painting, and then stepping back. So while I'm actually doing it, I'm just expressing myself. But then when I step back, I'm like, okay, what would make this pattern more pleasing? And that answer is going to be different for all of us. I think this needs some lighter up at the top, and I'll just kind of add that after. I need to flip it over again. Now we're going to have a whole new painting when I flip it. That's what's the other thing that's cool about abstracts. You can hang them whatever way you want. You could even hang them on a diagonal. And, oh, I like that. I like that. It's a little tricky, hanging it. Yeah, I felt like I was neglecting that side over there. So we have a whole new galaxy forming here. All right, well, more green. People usually see a lot of faces in my abstracts, so I'd love to hear how many you see in mine when you're doing this. Email me. I will get back to you. It might take a while, but I will. I don't want to overdo the green. There's this dark mass here that's got to be broken up. So we'll get some more red. Red's happy. Right over the top. Because you know I am right over the top. That's the other thing, you know, rather than fight your personality, just let it come out in the painting. Found this black and white photo recently. In fact, you can check out my blog. It's in my blog. It's me and my sister. And I'm kind of doing this. I was maybe 4 years old. And I'm kind of doing this. And my sister's got her hand in her chin, and she's giving me a look like, I can't believe she's doing that again. And so I said, you know, your personality's formed when you're pretty young. And so rather than try to fight it on the canvas, just do it. Express yourself. It's okay. All right, so I broke up that. I'm breaking all this stuff up. Add a little more cad red. This is just coming out to be fun. Okay, so this is some wild thing that's just really starting to emerge, and I can throw some more stuff in here to just really make it pop. Now, the idea I had when I first started this painting was I would do this really cool, subtle background, and then I was going to paint some Chinese characters over the top. You know, if it was just red and I didn't have the depth, I think that would work. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to just, since I love red so much, to do the Chinese character for red? And so that was, this is like the golf game, right? You think you're going to start out and hit it, or you're hoping you're going to hit it straight down the middle, but you end up in the sand trap and you take a different path. Well, that's what's happening here with this painting. I'm not going to, in order to put and I brought all this gold paint for this, in order to put these Chinese characters over the top with the gold paint, it would wreck this whole nebula. And I like what's going on here, so I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I'm going to experiment with some of the gold paint and see if I can't highlight that and add some gold veins through this whole thing and see what happens. And it's either going to work or it's not. I mean, that's what we're experimenting with here. And, and it's like when you're in the sand trap, they tell you to hit it ahead of the ball and get it out there. And some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so now I'm going for the gold paint because I know you guys are getting pretty tired of red. But I really, if you stop and pause and take a look at this, I like this whole base. I think if we highlight some of the red areas, we can even increase the depth and really make some, I like this, really make some more things emerge. Yeah, so we're going to try. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to pull down, I'll start with the bright stuff. I'm going to pull down some of this gold. That's pretty gold. This is an iridescent gold. I love this stuff. I got to get it off my hand so I don't get it all over everything. All right, so I'm not using liquid. I'm actually going to use just some of the straight paint. And the reason I'm not using any medium is with the metallic paints, if you use medium, it reduces their effectiveness and it takes all the cool stuff out of it. And I don't want to do that to this paint because it's just fun. So it's going to start to have some sparkles and it's going to mix with, it's going to be very subtle. Well, I guess it depends on how hard I press. Do I like what's going on? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I might grab another different gold. I think it was too wimpy. And that's not allowed today. Okay, so that separated some stuff there. But is it the color I want? We'll throw on a little more and see if it gets any better. All right, so before I do this whole thing and just really go crazy with it, I think a little bit here and there will be good. But I'm going to grab more of the coppery stuff. It's also a different consistency. Not as transparent. Ooh, I'm going to mix it with some of the red. See what happens. Yeah, it almost makes it look chalky. I don't think I like the chalky, so I'm going to stop that. Wipe my brush. Maybe even get a different brush because I may not be able to get all that stuff out of there. Yeah. And I'm going to add more, go back to the orange. So here's a case where I thought what I mean by the orange is actually cad yellow deep. I thought that it would be a good idea to do this, and then I totally changed my mind. And it's okay. But I'm looking through all the paint that I brought, and I didn't bring any orange. So sometimes you're out on the golf course, and you forget your favorite club. It could happen, right? It could happen. So what do? You use the next best thing. So I do have a little bit of yellow, cad yellow deep there, and I'm going to try that. Yeah, that's better. It just, believe it or not, that gold just did not have enough punch. That's much better. And I'm just going to find some of these places that we want to accentuate. And again, when I'm on top of it, I can't really see where I'm going. So I'm actually going to paint looking in the monitor so that I can get the distance on there. And I'm going to find all these little areas that need a little punching up. Some more cad right over the top. Yeah. Using thicker paint. Where's some of these other areas? And what else is going on here? Yeah, that's good. So that's good to start punching that up, and I will add a little more of a top here. And in some cases, it's just a little too much. Imagine me doing that. And I will throw more red on top. But it'll be, but it'll work because it's going to be the cooler stuff. And I'll reinstate the darks. And I'm going to turn it one more time. Okay, so now we've got these weird things floating through there. And that's one of those cases where it was a good idea, but it didn't really translate that well. So I'm going to scrape some of it off. Oh gosh, she's getting out the knife. Just take a little bit of this off so there's not too much paint. Ooh, I could start. Ooh. Okay, it's time for the knife. We'll grab some straight red, mix that right in over the top. Time to add a little different texture here. This also adds some more energy. Oh God, so you can tell I'm starting to get red everywhere. Sometimes I get it on my shoes, track it all over the house. I think we need to get rid of the carpet. Oh, that's happy. See how you can still see the light over there, but that toned that down. So I wish I could say that I did that on purpose, but no. It was just something that didn't work, and I tried to see how I could work with it. You know, I don't know if you ever cook from scratch and you just make up things. I sure do. And so you add a little bit of this and you add a little bit of that, and sometimes it comes out great and sometimes it doesn't. And so that's what's happening here. Oh, I like that. It's got more stuff and I'm swirling and more critters and things are coming out. And it's no surprise that you know, I'm Aries and that's Mars. That's definitely, my sign is Aries the Ram, so it's no surprise that I'm doing red and Mars type things. Whew. Need to throw some dark right over the top of that. Have some little things going supernova, some little explosions. Wow. Wow. Some more texture on the edges. And we'll throw in some darks with the knife too. Tends to keep the colors clean when you do that. So I'm going to go back to some of the violet and just check, yeah, add some violets to these greens. That'll be pretty. Yeah, I really was going to make a nice, quiet, that's what I thought I was going to do today. Nice, quiet red background, if there is such a thing. And then put the Chinese character over the top and surprise you with that, with all this wonderful gold paint. And not going to happen today. I do some of my quieter paintings when I have different energy too. Today was a high energy day. Ooh, okay, so I took this right here and I just kind of pushed it out there. And that was like a black hole. Black hole. Add some more dark hair. This is one of those, you know, when I'm done today, when I leave the studio and we're through with this show, what's done is done, because I think the energy, it's pure to keep the same energy going through this whole thing. I don't want to approach the canvas again. So what I want to do in the last part of the show is make this compositionally good. Just do it. All right, so now I have to take a look back and see what's going on here. Wow. Need to tie in the darks and lights. That's how you finish this up. Then I'll throw in some straight green, and when you do that, you know, throw in the straight green right over the top, it's going to really pop this thing. That'll be great. So, the last little bit of the show, you get to see some of this bright color. That, you know, that from a distance, the screen's not going to read, but when you're up close, it's like, wow, there's the aliens! Hey, the little green guys! Had to do it. Had to do it. My husband just kind of shakes his head sometimes. Well, all the time. Had to have little green men. You never hear of little green women. I wonder why that is. You always hear about little green men, but you never, maybe there are no female Martians. Maybe they're kind of like snails. They don't, oh, I can't go there. Okay, I'll just keep mixing my paint, or I get phone calls. All right. Oh, wow, he did look like a little guy with a tail and everything. That's cool. He's like a flying squirrel. But you must die because I don't like your shape. Sorry. Had to break you up a little bit. Okay, so we're getting down to the end of the show. And I got to take a look at what can I do to really punch this up. Well, we could have something go supernova and just throw some gold paint out there. Yeah, that's what we got to do. Okay, now it's time to get wild. 2 minutes left, 1 minute, whatever, and just throw some stuff. Woo! Just have at it, right? Pretend like there's just crazy music going on, and throw some color down. Ah! I'm actually being reserved because I'm on TV. I'd be a lot louder at home. Oh, God, that's just fun. Makes great noise. I'm grabbing like several colors all at once on my palette. Wow. We've got little explosions going on here. I'm going to throw in a little copper. And we need to tie this together because right now we've just got little, woof. Let's do some circular stuff here to tie this in. Okay. I'm just tying everybody together so they're not just so out there. Now these are shooting stars in case you don't know. That's what I just decided. So if somebody says, well, what is that? I'll say, what is what? You tell me. Cool. All right, so this is how you give your wall some soul. This is how you just put the paint down and have a really good time. Thanks for watching Give Your Wall Some Soul. I'm Shannon Grissom.